Today's video is probably going to piss a lot of people off and cost our channel a majority of the sponsorships that we're currently negotiating, but that's okay because I feel the message of today's video is going to help a lot more people than it's going to harm. After struggling for several years with addiction to nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and adult media content, I think one of the biggest and most impactful things I came to realize is that addiction at the end of the day is a choice. And even in the presence of disease, we are still faced with the ability to make decisions, the ability to make choices, the ability to choose. And this is true of any disease process. Before I fully explain today's video, I want to clarify two things. On one end of the spectrum, when we view addiction as a disease, we have to ask ourselves, who is that really benefiting? Is that benefiting you, the person who's struggling, or is that benefiting the pharmaceutical industry? Is that benefiting the multi-billion-dollar rehab industry that we have in the United States? Is that benefiting our healthcare industry? Who really benefits from labeling you as having a disease? I think at the end of the day, I think the biggest group that benefits is the pharmaceutical industry, because once something is labeled as a disease process, the only way to treat disease in our culture, in modern medicine, is with medication. And for someone to even talk about treating disease with supplementation, with even something like coaching like we offer here, you're walking a very fine line to getting in a lot of trouble with various government agencies and other governing bodies when it comes to the people who regulate this stuff. And again, I think if we start to ask questions, a question as simple as who benefits most from telling me I'm diseased? Who benefits most from that? Is it you? And I think when we really look at this, the answer is no. By telling me that addiction is a disease, it takes away my power to choose, and it takes away my free will. And it implants the idea in my head that no matter what I do, I'm sick, and that then provides a convenient excuse for my continued destructive behaviors, for my continued destructive choices. Now, I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. In one sense, I do think maybe there is some forgiveness in the addiction as a disease model when it comes to how addiction has maybe impacted our family members, and when it comes to being a little bit gentler on ourselves, as in, you know, it'd be horrible to think that I chose to put my family through what they went through throughout my active addiction, and put my relationships and put my business and put myself through what I went through intentionally. That would be a really, 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 really hard pill to swallow. But I'm going to argue, and that's where I think addiction as a disease is a little gentler, but I'm going to argue something. I think it's a harder pill to swallow, the concept of I don't have a choice. I don't have free will in this. I think that's a harder pill to swallow, to be honest. If I look at addiction as a choice, that means that I am in control. And even if we take the disease model, and I'm going to take an extreme case of disease, cancer, there is still choice involved, right? Someone who's struggling with cancer, they can choose, in many cases, how they're going to pursue treatment. Are they going to take a holistic approach? Are they going to take a chemotherapy pharmaceutical approach? Are they going to do a combination of approaches? They can choose where they're going to go for treatment in most cases. This treatment center, that treatment center. They can choose in many cases, the combination of therapies that their doctor recommends to them. We see this in cancer, we see this in MS, we see this in a lot of diseases. People still have a choice. A person could choose to give up. They could say, I throw in the towel, I'm done. I can't do this. So even if I were to call addiction a disease, I would still argue you have a choice. When you wake up in the morning, you have a choice. Are you going to go exercise or are you going to smoke first thing? When you come home after work at night, you have a choice. Are you going to try and Netflix and chill and smoke some weed? Or are you going to get back to answering those emails that you're behind on? Are you going to spend time with your wife, time with your husband, time with your family? Are you going to give them that positive energy or are you going to go isolate? You are making a conscious decision every time you choose to smoke, and that's actually been proven. When we look at addiction, there's your animal brain and there's your human brain. The animal brain is not capable of driving an action. It's not capable of telling your hand to go reach for that pipe or reach for that bong or reach for that edible. It's not capable of doing that. It's your human brain that's making that decision, that's making that choice, that's driving that motion. And I think this message, although extremely controversial, and it's going to upset a lot of people and probably cost this channel a lot of sponsorships that we've been working on, I think it's probably the most important video I've ever made, because putting the power to choose back in your hands, giving you back free will, undoing all this messaging that we've been programmed to believe, that you're helpless, that you're powerless, that you don't have the ability to make a choice, I think is worth it. I think it's worth it to undo all that thinking. I would love to hear your guys' opinion in the comments, because I think this is a really important topic that needs more discussion. If you liked this conversation, be sure to check out the video description and the pinned comment to download our free 7-step guide on quitting smoking weed today, and to learn more about the book Rational Recovery by Jack Trimpey. I think Jack Trimpey does an incredible job of describing the addiction as choice model in a really good yet effective way at helping people quit. So be sure to check out that book, Rational Recovery. You can find a link for it in the video description. If you liked this conversation, it's definitely going to be worth your time giving that a read. All right, guys, I hope this video helped you out. I'll see you in the next one.